Hey everybody, it's your self-proclaimed metal mogul back with an update video this time. A few CDs and a couple of LPs that I have been really getting into in the last month or so. You may have noticed that my collection update videos are kind of few and far between at the moment. That doesn't mean stuff isn't coming in, but I decided this year that I was really going to kind of get into albums like I did when I was a kid. So it meant I've actually slowed down buying a lot rather than just spinning something once or twice, put it on the shelf, and then, you know, I look at so many albums on my shelves and I just don't remember what they sound like, to be honest with you. Not so much buyer's remorse. There's plenty for me to dig back into, but I'm trying to spend a lot more time, and I mean weeks, playing the same sort of set of albums just over again, just to really get to know them. I have to enjoy them, basically. I'm not going to torture myself for 4 weeks listening to something I don't like after a couple of listens. Those things may well go back on the shelf for a bit, but the five I've got today have all been pretty good, and I meant to film this one a couple of weeks ago, but I've still been enjoying them, and they've still been getting a lot of rotation. Been playing these at least sort of 2 or 3 times a week each, and getting to know them pretty well. So I thought I'd share with you. The first couple, actually, they got sent to me by Metal Mickey. I think he originally got them in a package from Jurgen. They weren't really for him. He thought they would be up my street, and he wasn't wrong. And he sent them on to me, which is sort of the beautiful thing about VCLT, isn't it? That if you don't like something, there's always somebody out there that you can pass it on to. And they're both sort of straight up heavy metal albums. Let's start off with the first one. Now, this one clicked straight away. So this is Havoc and The Grip. I got into my head they were a German band to start with, but then a little bit of reading, and they're actually an American power metal band. But it was that early US power metal band. So this originally came out in 1985. Although I believe this is an 88 Russian bootleg. I don't have too many of those, but this is really, really good. It has a very British sound to it, though. Twin guitars, lots of galloping riffs. Vocals are a bit muddy in there. Production's not the best, but there's lots of frenetic guitars in here as well. It's a consistent album from start to finish. But it won't blow your socks off. But I kind of like this kind of heavy metal. It's got some interesting songs. So every song was, say, a good sort of 3.5 out of 5. It doesn't really dip below that. Songs like Thrashers, The Grip, the Bullets of Blood is one of my favourites on here, and that's the one that actually gets just a little bit thrashier, and then it ends off with Sons of Thunder. You're not going to be able to read that at all, it's way too small, and it's red on grey, I could barely read it myself. And Hour of the Dragon is a killer song to close out the album. Don't know too much about the band, but I think they might have been one and done, but The Grip is a pretty good album, and keeps me interested from start to finish, or keeps me gripped, you could say. Dear me. Let's move on. Wildfire, Brute Force and Ignorance. Now this is one that Mike, he sent me a clip, and I went, nah, that's not really for me. And he went, actually I've got the CD, I'll send it to you, so it's tough. It is for you. But after a few spins, it really started to click with me. So this is Wildfire, Brute Force and Ignorance, which came out in 1983. This is a 2012 Mausoleum reissue. Wildfire are, how do I describe them? I'd say they're a more melodic version of Demon, but a heavier version of Magnum, should we say. So there's somewhere sort of in between of that, but very much sort of have that new wave of British heavy metal sound to them. Interestingly enough, the vocalist is Paul Mario Day. You may well know him from his other band More, and Iron Maiden aficionados would know that he was actually the first singer of Iron Maiden before Dennis Wilcox, something like that. Anyway, but yeah, good, middle of the road, melodic heavy metal, very 1980s, early 80s in its sound. I know it's 83, but there was much heavier stuff coming out in 83, and this is still clinging on to that sort of very late 70s, early 80s heavy metal sound. But don't let that put you off. 10 songs in total. That opening track, Violator, absolutely superb, as is Another Daymare. Another Daymare is a really good sing-along track to it. This track 9 on here is called If I Tried, is a decent song, but it has this a cappella version of Scarborough Fair, which is sung, which is really not in keeping with the album. Very, very weird, but really, really good new wave of British heavy metal album. I think this is well worth checking out. As I say, it didn't click with me at first from listening to just a single clip on YouTube, but thanks Mike for those two. They are really good albums. I mean, just say, just right up my street. I've been in a real early 80s British heavy metal, US power metal kick at the moment. I came across Savage, Loose and Lethal. Now this is an album cover, is pretty iconic, and believe it or not, I hadn't never heard this album until recently. I'd often seen it shown in the VC. It was one of those ones I would have instantly picked up if I'd found it in the wild at a decent price, as a blind buy, just because the cover's pretty iconic from a 80s heavy metal standpoint. I didn't even realise, to be honest with you, that this was a UK band. In fact, they're from Mansfield in the East Midlands in the UK. I always thought they were an American band mainly because of the song On the Rocks. Just sounds more of an American metal band to me. But the rest of the album is, without doubt, a sort of a UK new wave of British heavy metal style. Originally came out in 1983. This is the 2008 reissue on Crescendo Records. 8 tracks and 3 additional demo tracks on here as well. It's an okay album, I have to say. I'm not in a rush. Again, if I saw it on vinyl or decent type, I'd pick it up just for the cover, but I believe it's a bit of a cult album, maybe more so for the cover than the music that's on it. It's decent enough though. It's decent enough. Let It Loose, it's a really good opening track. Cry War is a good track, and the song Dirty Money very much reminds me of very early Tigers of Pang Tang. So decent album. Glad I've now heard it and I'm now familiar with it, but wasn't as good as I was anticipating from the love it gets, I have to say. Couple of records, as I said. More savageness, Savage Grace this time, after the fall from Grace. Again, a band that has iconic covers. Their first album, is it self-titled? I can't remember. Again, I've heard it late to the party with this band as well. It's the one that's got the police motorcyclist with the semi-naked woman handcuffed to his bike. Again, an album that's probably better known for its cover than the music, but this popped up on Amazon super cheap. Originally out in 1986. This is the 2021 No Remorse Records release, and if you look at the guys on the cover, that's to me exactly how it sounds. I love this album. It is absolutely brilliant. Right from the beginning, Call to Arms is more of an intro than a song, really, but that blends in well with We Came, We Saw, We Conquered. After the fall from Grace, absolutely brilliant. This album, the sound of this album reminds me of Riot, Thunder Steel era, although I think the Riot album came out the year after this one, so not influenced by that at all, really. But it's just speedy US power metal, but really, really good. Trial by Fire on here actually has some, the vocals on it they're almost kind of like death metal-y growls, thrash metal-y growls at times, but then also clean vocals on there as well. And that's the track actually that most reminds me of Riot. But I'm so glad I found this band. I will pick up that first album, probably the reissue of it if it's cheap. It comes with a nice inner and inner sleeve, and also a decent write-up from Christian Luge, I don't know how you pronounce that, but a good write-up of what the band were going through at the time, and their frame of mind as where they were going through it and how it was produced and instruments they were playing and stuff like that. It's on plain black vinyl. I'm not going to show, but yeah, brilliant album. This is one of my favourite albums that I've picked up this year from old bands that I just hadn't connected with previously. So definitely check out Savage Grace, After the Fall from Grace, if you've not heard that already. Lastly for today, Witch Hazel's fourth album, Sacrament. Still got it this rate, but it is open. It's on black vinyl, inner sleeve, band sort of illustration, photo illustration on the back. Witch Hazel are traditional heavy metal. They're quite a spiritual band in nature, so the songs and the lyrics reflect that, but it's not too much in your face, although this is probably a little bit more preachy than some of the other albums. But I do like Witch Hazel. They've got a very melodic sound. They're quite sort of 70s inspired new wave of British heavy metal sound to them. Not too many bands around at the moment that sound like Witch Hazel. So this is their fourth album. The first three albums I absolutely love, and this one is taking a bit longer to grow on me. It's not a bad album by any means, but when you've had a run of three fantastic albums, to keep that up and top those, it was always going to be difficult. But as I say, I am enjoying this the more times that I am playing it. But yes, well worth checking out. Witch Hazel is I'm going to buy their stuff when they put it out. They're one of those bands that appeal to me and sounds slightly different from everybody else doing the Iron Maiden clonage that's out there. And this was actually released in, I think this was 2020. I think was it this year? Yeah, 2023. Yeah, it was actually this year. I thought it might have been last year, but I bought it. It was one of those ones that sat in my inbox for a while, till I got the time to really sit down and play it. And I've done that now. And yeah, good album, getting better with each spin. But it just, you know, I was expecting more because each album previously had given me more and more and more, and that's probably too much to ask of any band to have 4 albums, getting better album on album. But still. An album well worth checking out, and that's Witch Hazel and Sacrament. There we go. That's the 5 albums I've been spending a lot of time with over the last month. If you know these albums, let me know what you think in the comments. If you don't know these albums, go and have a little listen to a clip and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.